like to take a minute to thank Mr. Art Thompson for these used ATX type computer power supplies. He was kind enough to give these to me from his collection as he was getting ready to throw them out. He promised they are all in working condition, and if I found one that didn't work, he would give me double my money back. So hats off to him. He has his own YouTube channel called PDRREngineer, and that stands for Phoenix Durango Railroad. I'll have a link to that in the description, and I suggest you guys go check him out and give him a thumbs up and subscribe. Alright, so here's the first look at this layout that I picked up. Got this through a friend of a friend. Had to drive 2 hours to get it, but it was free. So you can't beat free. The control panel here, got a pair of dual throttle power packs. The black Tech 2 isn't even hooked up. The older gold color one is. And I've actually managed to get the train running, or at least the locomotive anyway. The layout is 8x12 in an L shape. It's basically two 4x8 modules that are joined at the far end of that control panel. You can see right there in the middle is where one 4x8 module bolts up to the side of the other. And I do mean bolt with carriage bolts. And if you look there, you can see the seam going all the way up the frame. Got a tunnel there with a loop going around the back. You can see it on the bottom. That big hole there in the center, there's actually a board that goes there. That's a lake. And there's a river there. Goes underneath those bridges, goes around the corner, which we'll walk around there in a second. Pardon me while I move stuff around. It's a little tight squeeze through here, but get to the back side. There's another tunnel there. And we go straight all the way down. You can see a bunch more tunnels down in the far end of the screen. And big hole cut in the side of the mountain. You can see the piece laying on top. I gotta put that back on after everything's working good. And around here, dip down here real quick and see some of the track on the lower level. You can see where the river goes down and goes through its own tunnel. There you go, there's a waterfall there on the other side of the bridge. And look inside, you can see some hidden track there straight ahead and up above that. Let me see if we can get in here and the camera will adjust. There's another track up in there. There's two tunnel portals right there. And just climb over this lumber. Give you a little peek inside there. A little mining operation. That's the only industry I have on here. Pardon my sandpaper. A little storage yard that runs up. And I guess there's room for another industry there. I got some roadway bridges sitting there. From what I've seen here, and I'll show you. If you look all the way down inside there, let me zoom in. There's a photo cell. And if we follow that track, of course I got a couple turnouts missing there, but that track goes into the yard. All the way down here at the end of the yard. There's another photo cell there. And there it is right there, another photo cell there. And underneath the layout there's a Circuitron AR2 reversing module, which I originally thought was an auto reversing module for a reverse loop, but it's actually for a point-to-point trolley type setup. So he must have had something like that hooked up where it would run from one end to the front of the layout to the other. You can see my my mobile camera setup that I use on the club layout all the time. And I got an old junk Bachmann F7 Santa Fe locomotive with absolutely no flywheels in it. And I just want to prepare you guys, that locomotive runs crappy and this track is kind of crappy right now. But in a little bit I'm going to run that around the layout, give you guys a look, trackside view. Alright, so it looks like we got some track issues after reviewing that video. Unfortunately, some of the track issues are inside of a tunnel, so we'll have to figure out what I'm going to do about that. Most of the track here is flex track. There are some sectional track pieces. There's one or two brass pieces. This 3-section bridge here, that's all brass. The little bridge is brass track, and it's the type of track that's integral to the bridge. So I don't think I can change it, at least not easily. The remaining pieces of track are nickel silver. It's all code 100. So I guess the next step is to go through these turnout motors, make sure they work, see what doesn't work. Have to come up with a few turnouts. I'll definitely replace the brass turnouts. There's one or two brass turnouts. This one here in the middle of the screen going into the tunnel on the leftmost track. Probably going to see if I can get a curved turnout to go in there. That'll probably help the flow of the track a little better. Good thing is there's just those little tiny track spikes holding the track down, so it's not that hard to get up. Nothing's glued down that I can tell. Nothing's been soldered except for some feeder wires. Oh, and that's another thing. There's no bus running around the layout. It's just a couple feeder drops here and there, not even more than one in each block. Control panel appears to show everything broke up in blocks, but I've had to jump a few things together on the terminal blocks underneath the layout just to get the locomotive to run. I did find some loose solder joints on some of those switches under the control panel. You can only open it up about that far because the wires are too short. Definitely need to rewire the track, rework a couple spots. I'll probably use the control panel for the switches. Not sure exactly how I'm going to do that yet, but it'll be a nice little project for me and keep me entertained for a long time. Alright guys, well I appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you have any suggestions or comments, feel free to give them to me below, and I'll keep you guys updated as I progress on this. Thank you.